talking under the tree. We talking under the tree. Let's talk under the tree. Let's talk under the tree. We talking under the tree. We talking under the tree. Let's talk under the tree. Let's talk under the tree. Welcome to the show. Appreciate that you came. Mr. Palmer T. Smalls ain't a damn thing changed. We talking under the tree. Yeah, we got them hot topics from Carolina to Duval. That's how we rock it on prime time. Check out the podcast. It's online. Hit us up. We got a platform. You gon' shine. It was all a dream. We here now. Let me hear you say it loud. We talking under the tree. We talking under the tree. We talking under the tree. Let's talk. Let's talk.
What up, everybody? What's going on, T. Smalls in the house? Good evening, Miss Bradley.
Oh, Mr. Palmer, sir.
What's happening? I'm Pastor Palmer. That's T. Smalls in the house. Miss Bailey out of Atlanta, Georgia. How y'all enjoying the weather?
Oh, man.
Good. It's beautiful here.
Oh, yeah, man. It's been lovely down here, too.
Welcome to the tree, everybody. And we do what we do. Take your shoes off. We're going to have a good time today with a serious topic that a lot of people don't want to talk about.
So when you see women because we're not even taught.
I get some backlash, but that's okay though. T. Small,
I'm sorry.
That's okay. T. Small, show some love.
Yeah, we talking under the tree.
T. Small, show some double love.
Hey, man, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Since we together, we might as well stay. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be our neighbor? We talking under the tree.
I think you're getting pretty good at that thing.
Man, I do what I do when I can do it, bro.
Next time we come on here, I think I'm going to challenge you to sing this thing backwards.
Oh, damn.
Right.
Damn.
Right.
Yeah, I actually think you can do it.
I want to see that myself.
Oh, man.
It is what it is. We're going to have a good time. We're going to be talking about hidden addictions. Pastor Bradley, you're going to tell your story, and
Sure.
it's going to be kind of amazing. You know, you already an established author, life coach, notary. I think the only thing that you haven't done is embalm somebody.
Oh. Hey, and hey, run for president. Hey, she ain't run for president yet.
I'm too scared to embalm somebody.
That's the only thing that's missing.
Right.
Look, if they flinch or anything, I'm out.
You go.
Yeah. I'm out.
We'll be right back in 20 seconds. One time for your mind, two time for your soul. I'm Pastor Palmer. T. Smalls, Miss Bradley in the house. We'll be back in 20 seconds.
Who is you?
Yeah, this is a story of famous dog. But the dog.
Okay, we back. You hear about, I don't even know how to say it. Prescription medication that's, somebody can get addicted to. T. Smalls, we was talking about that this week.
Right.
So, to being an accomplished person that you are, Miss Bradley, I would have never known, by looking at your face, but at least you're woman enough and you have a lot of courage, to say these things. So how did you realize you were kind of addicted to prescription medication?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny because my granddaughter was like, Nana, what time is your next show? I was like, oh, it's not till 7:30. And I looked down at 7:28. I was like, oh my God, Lee's gonna kill me.
Right.
So thank you for having me on
Okay.
this evening. And I do understand this is a very serious topic. However, I don't want to take away the humanity of the topic as well.
Right.
So what happened was I was I got married really young. Let me just say that. I got married right after high school. And when you're that age, your number one goal is I'm getting out my parents' house, and so whatever comes along that, and you feel like that's your escape, so that's what you take. And what happened, it didn't wind up like I thought it was going to be. Marriage was not all, unicorns and rainbows and, balloons and ice cream every day. It wasn't like that at all. And so I found myself in a position to where I was really sad and depressed all the time.
Right.
And so when you are dealing with depression, sometimes the body tells you that something is hurting here, something's hurting there. So I was always, feeling like I was in a lot of pain. So every time I would feel like I was in pain, of course, if you in pain, you go to the doctor.
Right.
And perhaps I should say, unfortunately, and I don't know how this is going to sound, but when you are a woman and you have certain assets and you look a certain way, there are benefits that come with, being who you are.
Right.
And so my doctor, one of my doctors at the time was kind of fond of me. And sometimes that makes it a little easy for women to become addicted to prescription medications when there is a male doctor, that kind of fancies her or what have you. So it wasn't until I tried to start sleeping without medication.
Right.
You don't know you need something until you no longer have it. That's when you start realizing, oh, wait a minute, I might have a problem. And a lot of times people will say, well, I ain't no drug addict, or I'm not addicted to drugs. I ain't never been on the corner. I ain't never been to a crack house. I ain't never did this. Honey, an addiction is an addiction. And I tell people all the time, whether you get your stuff from the man on the corner or you get yours from the man in the white coat sitting in an air-conditioned office, an addiction is an addiction.
Right.
Period.
T. Smalls.
It's no difference.
Right. T. Smalls, you were talking to me this week about a certain drug that a lot of people are addicted on. What were you talking about?
Man, it's several. It wasn't just one, man. You had opioids, you had oxycodone, you had Demerol, Xanax, Valium. I think the Xanax is the most popular ones that people get hooked on, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I say this to say, like, okay, if these drugs are supposed to help people, man, it seems kind of backwards that they're getting addicted to it at the same time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, I think because what happens is it's like anything else. The thing about exercising, for example, when you first start working out and your muscles get really sore, until you get used to it, your body get used to it, and your muscles get acclimated to working out, your muscles don't really know, lifting weights is helpful, but it's also hurting you too. That's the source of your pain. So it's the same thing with medication. You're prescribed medications to help you over here. But what happens over on the other side, if you start getting addicted to it, the same thing that they gave you to help you, now it's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And you don't really know it, like I said, until you try to go without it. And that's the only way you can know if you're addicted to something, if you try to go without it.
Right. It's like you develop a dependency on it.
You do.
After a certain time period, you develop that, and then it's like you can't go without it.
You really do. And one of the most popular pills back then, I won't say how long ago, because I know some people that know me personally will know me from home and all of that. But one of the things that was really popular back then was diet pills. And if you were in a certain group, diet pills were your go-to drug of choice, if you will, because it wasn't like you were trying to get high or, you couldn't be called a crackhead, or you couldn't be called a baser, or you couldn't be called any of those names that people who do drugs are called. But if you were addicted to diet pills, or like T Small said, Xanax, or the uppers and the downers, that they normally call social drugs, you know. Um, but those are some of the most addictive drugs you will ever come across. When I say addictive, because they're so potent, you can take. I remember uh, wanting to find something wrong with me so I could go back to the doctor.
Wow.
And then I remember a situation where the doctor, so, okay, we have to be transparent. We don't have to be, but I choose to be.
Okay.
So oftentimes when you, and I hope this doesn't make me sound arrogant or conceited, but when you look a certain way, doctors tend to favor you differently, if I can say it that way.
Right.
Okay. And so it wasn't just one doctor, you know, that would write prescriptions, or that would say, have a nurse to call me and say, oh, tell her she needs to come in. And they would call me, and I just saw you 2 weeks ago, like, and no, you need to come in. Okay. So I remember getting to my doctor's office one day. This is a true story. And he had one of his friends there. And he said, I got a buddy of mine that's going to give you a massage. So I was like, okay, cool. Cool. I'm cool with it. So I go in the room. This really tall, really handsome white guy is there. And the doctor's a black guy. And he says, oh, you're, called the doctor name, you're his friend, and da 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 da, and he says, oh, he told me to take good care of you. I get me a massage, I walk out with my prescription, and everybody's cool.
Wow. Are you saying that this can happen? Some doctors can be like a legalized drug dealer?
I don't want to call them legalized drug dealers. I think that if it's something they can get out of it, then I don't want to say that they put their careers on the line, but you ever heard of pay to play?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's one of those kind of deals where if you're in certain circles, you don't look at it as something nefarious going on. You just look at it, we all friends, and this is how we help each other out. You don't look at it as, oh, your doctor is your pusher, or your doctor is your drug dealer. That's too, that's nefarious, and that's just like, that's wrong to say that, but if we all have something in common, and then if we all have enough on the line to lose, who's really gonna say anything?
Right.
So, and this is our circle. This is what we do, and everybody's okay with it, And because I'm talking now, I will never give names. Never. That'll go with me to the grave and beyond. But this is part of my story. It is part of my journey. It is my truth. And, a lot of times I've had people that were in that circle, there was a gentleman I remember wanted to date me, and I didn't want to date him. And he figured because he was an attorney, I should have dated him. He was like, well, I know this. I don't care. And so a lot of times we are forced to tell our stories, in these kind of platforms because people that are in those circles will tend to try to, how do you say, is blackmail a good word to use? Will try to blackmail you, blackball you, blacklist you, you know. And can I say this?
Say it.
Say whatever you got to say.
Most of these people are also pastors and bishops and apostles.
Wow.
Wow. Mm,
So, you
mm,
know,
mm, mm.
Mm.
they're bivocational. You know, they have jobs and they are also in ministry. You know, some of you don't know, my first degree is I have a legal degree.
Right.
Well, of course, I work with attorneys and judges and, you know, people like that, millionaires, uh, and so when you're introduced into a different lifestyle, um, you learn different rules. There are rules to the game, if you will, and you just don't say. And you want to know something else? I was married the whole time,
Oh, wow.
and not one time I was married. We were pastors, uh, and not one time did my husband then notice anything wrong with me.
Wow. That's the
It's not
power.
even a suspicion. Not even like, yeah, all right, you okay? Where you going at? That type of deal.
Nothing.
Wow.
But I'm gonna back up a little bit as far as the dating go. It's a
Hmm.
guy that wanted to date you.
Hmm.
He said you gave him a hard time, and that's T
Hmm.
Smalls. And he asked, this is his last pitch because you didn't been on here, off and on. He's gonna give you his last pitch. There you go. He want to sing you a little something.
Oh Lord.
She's your queen to be, a queen to be forever, a queen who'll do whatever His Highness desires.
Are you gonna give him a chance?
Man,
Okay.
you a fool, man. Oh man.
I'm just
No,
checking.
I
Well,
did not
hey,
see
well,
that
you done
coming.
pulled that one out the bag, huh?
Right, right. I
That
didn't
was
see that coming.
the last chance. But as far as you was a pastor, y'all were pastors. When was the crossroads you say, okay, I gotta stop?
um, I think for me was I just got tired of feeling trapped. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And not so much trapped by the diet pills and the Xanax and all of that. Not so much trapped by that, but trapped by the society of it all.
Mhm.
Like, okay, somebody gonna find out one day,
Mhm.
or somebody gonna tell my husband one day, and he was already, um, um, not always a nice person,
Right. Right. Right.
and and then I would have people to say stuff like, if you don't do this, I'll go tell your husband that you and I are going together. Like, why would you do
Oh,
that? Why? But that's not true. Why would you do that? You know, and so for me, when I start saying, you know what, I don't see but one way out of this.
wow.
I don't see but one way out. And that was the first time I tried to commit suicide.
Wow.
I didn't see no other way out because, first of all, I always thought to myself, nobody's going to believe this, because I am probably the least, you know, suspected person that would be in that circle, So I knew nobody would really believe me, um, because I wasn't going to name names. However, if I had started naming names, you wouldn't have had no choice but to believe me then. But I never thought in my mind to even, how do you say, expose anybody. That never even came to my mind. Never. I wanted out, and I almost wanted my husband to know.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted him to know. There would be times where I would be like so tired of it all. I would just cry and cry and cry. In the book I wrote, it'll be out this year. I say like this, that he never heard my silent cries. I had silent screams lying next to this man night after night after night, and you never even noticed how far I was spiraling down.
He wasn't, seems like to me, T Smalls, that he wasn't paying any attention or even asked her something like this when her behavior changed.
Who is you? Correct.
Nope.
Right.
Nope.
Correct.
And he should have asked you.
Well, yeah,
You know.
I agree. I agree. But you got to remember too, and again, and I always preference anything I get ready to say. This is not an indictment against the church, but you also have to remember that, particularly back then, the church was not really focused on how you're doing. The church was more focused on what you're doing for the church.
Correct.
So
Gimme.
yeah, so you can be taught how to work in the church. You can be taught how to live in the church, but there was not a lot of teaching on how to survive outside of the church walls, or outside of church gatherings, or outside of church conversation. It wasn't a lot of talk back then on how to survive in life without thinking, oh, Jesus is going to wave a hand and everything going to be all right. That wasn't the conversation.
So you go to church basically, and typical format, sing Amazing Grace, Jesus keep me near the cross, take the offering. If it's a little short, the pastor might ask for a little bit more money, and you go home.
Yep.
Basically, like this right here.
10 down 15 on the mind, but I done buried on 15. I better done buried on 15, 20.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right. I remember being in the service one time, and I think we talked about this one time on your show. The pastor was like, he was trying to raise like $53 or something. He was trying to get extra.
Mm-hmm.
We had put in like $12, $13 of that. He literally locked the church doors, made everybody sit down. Yeah,
I remember that.
Was like, nobody's going anywhere. I was like, this guy is ludicrous. But outside of that, we didn't have a whole lot of conversation, and there was no way I would have went to anybody spiritual and told them, hey, I feel I've gotten myself into this situation, and I feel trapped, and I don't feel like it's no way out. I'm thinking about hurting myself because there's no way out for me. And this person over here is, basically trying to blackmail me into getting into a relationship with him. Who was I gonna go to and tell that?
Right. That's correct. Let me get into something real quick. Hey, T Smalls, as far as I'm concerned, as far as probably me and you know, that prescription medications that you're addicted to are for pain. So Ms. Bradley, is it like you get like a high because sooner or later it seems to me that the pain is no longer there. So you just want that feeling from the high with the pills.
It's not so much a high than it is that euphoria of I don't have to feel what I feel right now.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Take a little bit of the edge off.
Yeah. So it's like having a bad toothache, and then all of a sudden you get some Orajel.
Mm-hmm.
The toothache itself is not really gone, but that throbbing from that nerve, that Orajel quiets the throbbing. And that's what you look for when you start getting involved with prescription medicine. You're not looking for a cure. You're looking for something to take that throbbing away. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're in a situation some people when they're in abusive marriages, some people when in their, when they're in different situations, you just want something there to stop the throbbing. It's like a nerve throbbing, and you just need something to calm it down long enough for you to get a clear thought, a peace of mind, a night of rest, anything, anything.
Are you fully recovered or have you had a relapse?
No, I've never had a relapse. Although,
Praise
although
the Lord.
no, I've never had a relapse. Um, but I still do know some of the same people. Let me say it that way.
Okay.
And I think with time and age and with understanding, I've been through a lot of therapy, because of, I don't think people understand that we only associate PTSD with
Mm-hmm.
people that have been in war or some type of military, but when you go through domestic violence, any kind of abuse, it is the same thing as being in a war. You come out with PTSD. And so I've been through a lot of counseling, and I'm not afraid to say I'm still in counseling. I
All right.
see a therapist once a month, just to make sure that I maintain my most my best sanity self, that I'm in tune with what's going on, so I don't have to have all those crutches around me to lean on, to
Mhm.
cope with what's not right in my life, if you will.
Right. But I tell you what, you're making it pretty good, and me and T Smalls are proud of you because
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
what's that song by the Actually Haddon? You could have been dead and going sleeping in my
Oh
grave.
yeah.
Something
Oh
like
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I tried it. Not one time, not two times, but three times. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
because it was too much. And I don't think people, and I hear people say, well, nothing get that bad where you have to commit suicide. Well, that's because you've not been there yet.
Right.
It's easy to
Right.
talk about something you have not been through. you
Correct.
know um and then I understand people might say, well, how come you just didn't stop hanging around? Why didn't you just find another doctor to go to? Again, unless you have been there in those circles, in those environments, some things are not as easy to just walk away from, uh, even being in a marriage, and if the marriage is toxic, is sometimes it's, well, you should have been left, and oh, why did you stay so long? Well, some answers we just don't have.
Preach.
Preach.
You know,
Preach. Preach.
it
Me and
just
T,
it is what it is.
you stated earlier that T Smalls, you can piggyback on this too. If you
Right.
look a certain way, I guess your grooming standards are up to par. You have
Mhm.
favor, and I'm
Right.
sure you had a little bit of favor because we have some of the products that you endorse with the doctor.
Just let your soul glow. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul glow, baby. Feel it oh so.
And I
Hey,
know
hey, Small.
your audience is probably thinking, is he crazy? Why is he doing that when they're talking about such a serious
Look,
topic?
look, look, man. It's because we are realists, and
Yeah,
we understand that we know we are serious, but in order for you to get this out, you have to be calm, relaxed, and
you
you
Right.
have
do.
to have fun,
You have
man.
Fun.
to
It's,
have
it's all
fun.
about
Yeah.
having fun. It's the confidence that you
Right.
yourself, you are confident because you came to our show and our
Hmm.
platform and shared
Hmm.
your story. So we
Yes.
want to make you laugh.
You got to make
Right.
it break it up. That's all it is.
That's
Yeah.
all it
And
is.
I think it does break up the monotony of it all too, because a lot of times people, when they hear your story, they think you're supposed to be, woe is me, this is what I went through.
Right.
But if it's your journey, it's just your journey, and you can either come out, smiling and being able to tell your truth about it, or you come out mad, angry, and bitter. You know what I'm saying? But we don't. Me particularly, I don't have the energy to be angry and bitter and and self loathing and self hating because of things I've gone through, or even the decisions I've made to be in some of those situations. It was what it was. You
Yeah,
know.
we have a comment right here. Hold on one second. T Smalls, what they say?
I too am proud of this young lady. Hey, yeah, it speaks
Thank
for
you.
itself, man.
Thank.
Hey, thank God for change, man. Look
Oh
at
yeah,
what you have become
yeah,
because of the things you've been through, and now you're able to mentor
All right.
those who are going through the same thing or been through the same thing that you have been through. Think
yeah.
about that. It's not how you start; it's how you finish.
It's how you finish.
All right. Finish.
Amen. Amen. I think one of the things that I really want to highlight while we're talking about this, and again, you guys have to forgive me because from the age of 14, um, I'm a product of the church, from the age of 14. And it's just like anything else. Anytime you have a child prodigy and you throw them into an adult world too soon, you're going to almost have to further down the line look for them to have some kind of uh, imbalance, you know, because while my cousins and my friends at 14 were playing and stuff like that, here I am. I'm in the AME church at age 14, and I'm assigned to be the Southeastern District Youth Department Secretary. So now I'm responsible for three churches' youth departments at 14. And so I grew up, working in the church. What I did not grow up doing is learning how to function outside of the church.
Okay, I got
So
you.
when I got pregnant at 16 and got put out the church, that was the beginning of me spiraling at 16.
Wow.
Because then I thought, oh man, God don't want me anymore. Because the way they put me out the church, they waited till my parents were not home, came to the house, told open the door. We already know you pregnant. We just came to get the books. That was it. No prayer from didn't pray with me. Didn't say, well, we'll see you when you have the baby. You'll be welcome back. No, nothing. And just left
Wow,
me there. And
wow.
so in
Right.
my
What part of the
16-year-old
ministry was
mind,
that?
AME church. And I will tell you that because I still feel some kind of way.
Hey, let it out. But let me ask you. I'm not sure if me and T Smalls went over this earlier. Maybe you have said it. At what age did you start doing prescription drugs?
Oh, I was grown, married,
Okay.
pastoring, having babies. My son is 32, so it was right after my son. My son was born in 88. Uh, so it was between the 80s and the early 90s.
Okay, about 30 years late.
Yeah,
Something
up
like
in yeah, all during that time in there. And my husband worked for we had excellent insurance, just let me say that. And so of course you get to pick whatever doctor you want when you have that kind of insurance. And so sometimes it's I didn't even know I had a problem. Let me just say that. I didn't know I had a problem until I didn't have the medicine there anymore.
that. Okay.
And then I would become like I could feel myself like uh going through withdrawals and you know uh shaking and uh agitated and stuff like that. But then I would go to the doctor and say this. He would give me a prescription, and immediately I'm back right now. So
Oh,
after a few times like that, well, he didn't say anything either. So if the doctor knew that I was developing uh, uh, um, a dependency, he didn't say anything.
Right.
Yeah, that's just a beautiful word to say an addiction. That's all
Yeah,
that is. A
yeah,
dependency.
a
That's what they
dependency.
call it.
Well, that's how we call it in our circles.
I've often heard of people in your realm that they have to smoke a joint. That's an addiction before they get in the pulpit. Also, have
That
you
is
ever?
that is
Oh,
very true. That
okay.
is very, very true. Not just marijuana. Some have to, do a line, you know, uh, cocaine. I've never done any of that because that's not something I could get from my doctor. If
Right.
I couldn't get it from the doctor, then that was not going to be my drug of choice. Um, because it's funny how it's funny how I could be addicted to pain pills, right, and diet pills and things of that nature. Because
Hmm.
diet pills are like uppers, they
Correct.
give you
Yeah,
this
yeah.
energy, and then pain pills help you relax at night,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so it's funny how people can have that addiction, but then people who do street drugs, as they're called, we think we're better than them because we don't do street drugs.
Right. You got a doctor giving it to you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get mine from the doctor. But here's the truth of the matter: both of us are addicts.
Right.
We both are addicts. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you get it from the man on the corner or the man in the white jacket. Both of us now have become addicts.
Wow.
Wow.
What keeps you going? Because I'm sure there's a lot of temptations out there. What keeps you going? Because you seem like a very strong person that you're not going to go back to that. So what keeps you
Well,
going? What gives you that fight?
I don't want to. I lost my desire to die.
Okay.
I wanted to die for a long time. You know, uh, oh God, how can I say this? Most of the time that I was married, I wanted to die. You know, um, so I stopped wanting to die. And when you stop wanting to die, the only alternative is you want to live. And when
Correct.
you want to
Hmm.
live, you have to do things that will cause you to live. You cannot keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Right.
And it wasn't until um, when I was diagnosed with um, it's a form of Parkinson's,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called dystonia, but it's a form of Parkinson's. And what would happen, I would be at work typing, and my hands would start shaking, and the muscles would just tighten. And when we start doing this, was in uh, early 2000s, and sometimes the effect from a certain lifestyle doesn't catch up with you until later.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So when we started going through, well, where did this come from? But did you ever do this? Did you ever do that? Of course, I'm gonna say no.
Right.
You know, not only am I a pastor, I'm a pastor's wife. I'm not gonna admit that I was using, drug prescription or otherwise. I'm not gonna admit that to you. So you can write that in my file. Oh no. And so we I would go on the defense, how dare you ask me that? But here I'm talking to a neurologist that's looking at what he's looking at, and if this is my age, and he says, well, unless you are Caucasian or Asian descent, there's no reason you should have this diagnosis.
Wow.
So then that opened up another bag, and then I had to start doing research on that. So once I found out that almost threw me back. That almost threw me back. That goes back to a different show we talked about with Family Secrets.
Right.
Right.
And so there were so many things going on that even as a pastor, even married to a pastor, that I could not address at the church or with anyone in church, anyone higher up, a bishop or anyone, another pastor. Those were things we didn't talk about back then
That's
because
correct.
everything was, if it wasn't spiritual, then it was a spirit, so we didn't talk about those things.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to give some advice, T Smalls, you can, piggyback behind her. What advice could you give a man or a woman, and in reference to getting some help in closing? What could you really tell them? That don't be ashamed. There is help out there.
It is, that was one of the things. If I had not been so wrapped up in the church, I don't know if that sound right or not, y'all.
Right. You good?
You
But
good.
if
Say
I
it
had
how you
not
want to
been,
say it.
if I hadn't been so wrapped up in the church, I probably would have gotten help sooner rather than later. And if you need help, please get help. Don't just let it slide because of who you are or even the circles you might be into, because you just never know how it might turn out for you.
Right. T Smalls, what you got, man?
Man, all I got to say is I thank Miss Bradley for sharing her story. It's a lot of people out there with the same stories that she have.
Mhm.
They might not be as confident and as as telling as she was, because they might still be going through that situation. But if you can seek help, man.
Yeah.
People hide things, man, to not only to not embarrass themselves, but they hide things to protect other people that don't need to be protected. They need to be
True.
told on. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So have the confidence to speak up and speak out, no matter what the situation may look like. Have that courage to tell somebody. And if you in a congregation or whatever committee and you don't feel comfortable, go outside that, man, and seek somebody outside of that may see the situation a little differently than what you seeing it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Get professional help.
I'm going to
Right.
add my 2 cents in there. Don't be ashamed to go get some help, because mental health is real, especially in the Black community. We laugh at each other. We always make wisecrack saying your bread ain't done. Or
Mhm.
in South Carolina, they always, use the term that boy or girl, they fool up. I'm sure some
Oh,
you heard that.
cracky, or they cracky.
Oh, they cracky. Right.
Yeah.
You the one who cracky, because everybody laughing at you. You probably fool up yourself. Oh, I was trying not to cuss. Hold on a minute.
You were doing so good.
Yeah. I kind of clean that up. But me and T Small is going to go back and find that lawyer for you that you should have dated. But all you got to do is this right here. Cook some cornbread for him.
That's it.
That's it.
Matter of fact, put the corn in there. Put the actual corn in there.
Right. Yeah. Just cut it on his plate and go back and, sing him a song. Do what you do. You know what I'm saying?
It's like grandmama used to make. You know what I mean?
I'm Pastor Palmer. T Smalls in the house. Miss Bradley, thanks for giving us your testimony.
My pleasure.
With addicted to prescription medication. T Smalls, say us a little prayer for the week, and say a little prayer for her that everything goes well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God for Miss Bradley sharing her story, and for everybody else who in the same situation that she was in. Please don't be afraid to tell somebody. Lord, I thank you for this podcast. I thank you for all the people that's watching out there tonight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we love everybody, and you be good for the week. I'm gonna click you off real quick. Have a good night. T Smalls, we back. You did a pretty good job, my friend.
Hey, man, always, man. Likewise.
Right. I think you're getting pretty good with that prayer. You was praying for 5 minutes, a couple weeks ago.
Hey, man, sometimes it's long, sometimes it's short. But if loving the Lord is wrong, I don't want to be right.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, all right. We love everybody. We out of here. Don't forget to wear your mask. Corona's not gone yet. Hey, guess what? They're opening a few things up, but I don't trust that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, you got to still take caution, man. Wear your mask, man. Wear your mask. Protect yourself. Stay 6 feet apart. 6 foot apart, man. Remember that.
Thanks for watching The Tree with us. I'm Pastor Palmer. T Smalls in the house. One time for your mind. What the else they gonna say about that, Smalls? Two
times for your soul.
And we out of here. Y'all be easy like Sunday morning. Peace.
Kingpin Music.
We talking under the tree. We talking under the tree. Let's talk under the tree. Let's talk under the tree. We talking under the tree. We talking under the tree. Let's talk under the tree. Let's talk under the tree. Welcome to the show. Appreciate that you came. Mr. Palmer T. Smalls, ain't a damn thing changed. We talking under the tree. Yeah, we got them hot topics from Carolina to Duval. That's how we rock it on prime time. Check out the podcast. It's online. Hit us up. We got a platform. You gon' shine. It was all a dream. We here now. Let me hear you say it loud. We talking under the tree. We talking under the tree.